All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. In lieu of another Coffee and Cannoli podcast, tonight we got another wrestling review. This past Sunday night was Hell in a Cell. So with me once again, we have Campo over to my right and Putty right below. Once again, the foundation of the show, the Putty man. Now his ego's going to be all swollen.
See, and nobody's even been noticing. Since the very start of doing wrestling shows, I've been cursing people, but it's just because you can't see my other arm.
The Danhausen curse there. Speaking of Danhausen, where's Orange Cassidy? Give me Danhausen versus Orange Cassidy.
He got really injured or something.
Yeah.
Like it's a long-term injury.
Yeah. Give me Danhausen versus Orange Cassidy.
I'll take it.
That'd be some wrestling.
That'd be some wrestling. So, like I said, tonight is our Hell in a Cell review. This past Sunday was Hell in a Cell. Campo and Putty, I'll have all their stuff down in the bio. We'll get that out of the way now. Let's get right into it. First match of the night was the Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch, and Asuka match. What was your guys' thoughts on this one?
I don't know. Putty, you want to go? I don't care. I'll go.
It was a okay match. I mean, there's between the only ones I liked was Bianca's
Adventure,
and Asuka, but Asuka. But I mean, Becky Lynch, I just had no interest in her. And she just seems too much of a crybaby situation. But as far as like technique, I mean, I will say Bianca's like knocking out of the park with like she's the only one I'm seeing that's actually athletic in WWE. And of course, now I'm going to start comparing to AEW, but there's just a lot to compare when it comes to better and good, you know? And so, yeah, she's giving off those good vibes as far as like being athletic. There's a definite push for her. And I agree with Campo that, you know, when it comes to Asuka, I like her now, but they don't seem like they're giving her much. And I mean, I'm guessing
I think she was just in the match to take the pinfall, to keep Becky going and for Bianca not to lose.
So here, this is how we're going to do this. I think that everything that Asuka did in this match was amazing.
Yeah.
But she was kind of, and me and Putty noticed this right away. We talked about it quite a bit during the match, that her character had no storyline here, and they kind of used her as just the foil that every time something happened, she was going to break up the pin or she was going to fight the person while Becky Lynch rested outside. And Bianca was arguably the best performance I've ever seen from her. I haven't seen that many, but it was crazy. And WWE is mental if your next setup for her is not to go into a feud with Ronda Rousey. Because there's no
unification with that too.
There's no one even remotely as powerful as her in the women's division. Maybe what's the other former fighter's name?
Which one? Shayna Baszler.
Shayna Baszler, maybe her, but I mean, she's not a title character. Like, she's not someone you give title shots.
No, she's not. She's definitely not in the title picture anymore.
I don't think she ever will be again.
Liv is off doing her own thing now with the other group there, so she's going to be in that for a while.
We'll get to that in a minute too.
Yeah,
but
like this is by far one of the I agree with you. This is one of Bianca's best matches, but towards the end, I thought that the finish was a little cheap.
I thought the finish was a cop out here. Okay, so Asuka was misused. Becky Lynch didn't really do anything for this whole match, and I'm after seeing the last couple events that we've watched and like here and there moments of WWE. I'm really questioning: is Becky Lynch, was she ever that good of a wrestler?
I think Becky Lynch, her whole thing started when Nia Jax punched her in the nose, and she just kept on fighting with the broken nose, and it made her look tougher.
Yeah, because her in-ring work is just okay.
I think she's a little bit more, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit more cautious in the ring now since she had the kid. She doesn't want to get injured as much.
Okay.
So she's not as
and her new character
aggressive.
Is awful.
She reminds me of what's her name?
So
Daryl Hannah's character from Blade Runner.
Yeah, what was with that hat?
Yeah, I don't get her. The whole look that she's going for. Okay, so this is another thing. When you see her on Raw or whatever she's on, her weekly events, she looks normal. And then for these pay-per-views, they dress her up like some weird witch. And
like some cyberpunk witch type.
And I don't get the look. It's like she's very pretty. I don't understand why you're trying to make her look like a tree or something.
One of her best looks, I think she did, was when they gave her like Aloy's look from Horizon
with the braid, right?
Yeah.
I said that. That's exactly what I was thinking too. And but okay, so back to the match though. The character annoys the crap out of me that Becky Lynch is now. She's just a whiny, annoying baby, and she does it all match long. Asuka was so amazing in this match, and they
like
give
you
her
said, she was just there to take the pinfall.
WWE doesn't know what to do with her, and I told Putty, I'm like, if she doesn't win this match, I'm like, she's only there just to so they seem like they tried to give her a shot. So it's not like we're not brushing her off. She's the best wrestler you have in the female division.
In the female division, I agree. I'm thinking Bayley's going to make a return soon, and it's going to be Bayley's going to make a return at the women's Money in the Bank match, and Bayley's going to go after Bianca Belair.
I mean, at least Bayley has a strength to her. It's like, no offense, like a lot of the smaller women, they do great stuff in the ring, but but
Bianca's tough. Like her moves actually look like they're connecting and look like they actually can do some damage.
I would any day of the week, I would take a 4-way match with Bianca, Bayley, Rhea Ripley, and Ronda Rousey. Just fatal 4-way. Just drop it down. Let it happen.
There was a slight nod to Charlotte in the match when Becky did Charlotte's natural selection move.
Yeah,
but
it was a good match.
It was a good opener. I didn't mind it at all. It wasn't.
It was weird that this specific match was chose to be the opener, based on like the kind of match it is and what the stakes were, especially a lot of the matches that come after it. But to get people going, it was definitely
good. Like I said, the ending I found a little cheap. Becky had the match won. She just kind of Bianca just kind of threw Becky out of the ring and pinned Asuka. And then at the end of the match, though, it felt like they were turning Becky babyface and Bianca heel because Bianca's out in the ring teasing her.
And
that's a bully move.
It was weird too because, like, I know we want to get off this, but now that I'm thinking about it, the way that they rolled this match. So I'm going to say this many times tonight, and this is not. I don't mean this to be disrespectful in any way, but there's one thing WWE does not understand that AEW clearly gets is how to have a triple threat match. Because in this, there's never like a 3-way work. There's always someone outside of the ring or knocked out inside the ring, and it's 2-on-2. There was one spot that me and Putty were watching, and where Bianca had Becky in, she was going to like suplex her off the top rope.
And Asuka was trying to powerbomb.
Asuka set up for a powerbomb. And I said,
the Tower of Doom spot.
I mentioned this, and Putty's like, if this was AEW, Asuka would have powerbombed Bianca while she suplexed Becky in the air. In AEW, that 100% would have happened in that match. And it's crazy that they set up for it and then just let it go.
That was pretty funny, yeah.
There were a lot of moments like that looked like, not just, I'm just doing throughout the night, that looked like they were actually trying to do something AEW do, and then something interfered, and I'm like, what's going on here, guys?
Yeah,
like,
it's like
one thing that they do right, that AEW that AEW does do a lot is the outside interference, and there was very little outside interference in any of these matches,
which is good.
That's the thing I have, like AEW, if there's something they got to do is every match, like when we were reviewing the Double or Nothing, it's like 3-4 matches in a row all had outside interference.
Yeah, they're definitely in the realm of WCW in this like wrestling wars right now.
Yeah,
because that's how they're going. They are all factions and they're all interference at this point.
Yeah. But Bianca Belair goes over. That was the right choice. It was
a good match.
Yeah, and Bianca's going to continue. Let's hope she has a solid run with this.
I was like begging for Asuka to win, but after watching some of the work that Bianca did in that match, I gotta say, like, I'm happy she won that match.
Yeah, I think it was a good opener. So on to the next match. We have Campo's favorite wrestler, almost a wrestler, an MVP against Bobby Lashley.
Almost an MVP.
Almost an MVP there. How many times do we need to see this match?
Okay, I want to make an analogy here. Me and Campbell talked about this. Here's the thing. Let's just say this. If we talk about all their matches being complete shit, the last two were pretty much diarrhea. And this one's more of like we get a little bit constipation. It was better than the other two, but it was not.
They've progressively got better.
But the problem
Yeah.
is like the reason I feel like it's better.
But that's
is
because you had
of
MVP versus Bobby Lashley, and they can actually go.
Yeah, and then almost actually ran without looking like he was a toddler. I mean, he actually ran like a regular person. You know what I mean? But
For
yeah,
once.
He does Campo's favorite thing still. Like when he's supposed to be hurt, he's just laughing.
Yeah.
Well,
a lot.
I even said to Campo when we did the AEW review for All or Nothing. I was talking about how that one guy looked like a Create wrestler, and then I said, nope, I'm wrong. Almost looks like a Create wrestler. When you're trying to make a big guy, and
you
you're
just
trying
make
to
him too tall.
Well, not even just matter, just too tall. Like he's so generic. All his clothes are black. He's wearing white wraps around his hands, and that's it. It's literally the like when you're starting to set it up. That's literally like what you get.
Basic creator
It's
wrestler.
literally the exact thing that you make fun of Vince McMahon for. Just he hired a guy just because he's big. He has no character, nothing.
Is this Giant Gonzalez territory?
No, he's better.
Who, Giant?
No.
Almost.
This is my thing with him though, and this match is like a Vince McMahon jizz factory. Yeah. You have a huge muscly guy, a ridiculously tall monster, and a legend type person. This is like a perfect match in his eyes. But I'll tell you the one thing. Well, I don't want to go that far yet, but okay.
I know who you're going to.
The timekeeper's wall. Okay, I've noticed this from the last couple of events. This is the biggest cop-out spot in WWE because it always breaks with someone going through it. Only that specific one part of the wall, and I'll tell you why, because there's no fans behind it.
There's no fans on the other side.
It's easy to rig it to break. It clearly doesn't hurt. Like, it might actually... You might get injured yourself.
That's the new announce table spot.
Yes, and it's... I don't like it, and I also don't like the way people keep going to the announce table to make contact with it with like their hand or something, and then no spot happens with it. That's like a Chekhov's gun number one. When you show something, that means you should use that thing at some point.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that. And I think that spot is so overdone with them going through that wall. But it wasn't that bad of a match.
And this feud's clearly going to continue.
And okay, so this is what I have written down. It's honestly not that bad of a match. The best one these idiots did so far. And but like this feud needs to end. It's not going to, but
clearly it's going to continue with Cedric Alexander interfering in the match, which was the only match that had interference in it. Cedric, it's going to be Bobby tagging with Cedric against MVP and Almost. So they're going to go at least another match.
But this needs to stop. Like, no one wanted this match the first time, and you gave it to us like 4 times now, and just like get over it. This should not be on a pay-per-view.
They did the steel cage match on Raw.
Yeah, like, oh my god. Anyways,
but yeah, slightly better.
Bobby goes over.
Yes,
and
he grabs that fan's belt.
You want to know what? Me and Putty were pretty jacked after that. Like, you know what? If someone is gonna go take down Roman Reigns, like Bobby Lashley looks like the guy that should do it. I don't know if he can wrestle like that guy, but he looks like him.
Yeah. And like we'll get into it later, but yeah, I mean, other than that, there's not much to say. Bobby Lashley goes over yet again.
He's gonna get the push. It's gonna be him.
It's gonna be him. I think Bobby Lashley might win the Money in the Bank match.
They're gonna give him a title. He's gonna get a title. He's gonna take one of them.
Either they split the belts up again, or we'll see what happens. Bobby Lashley goes over. I like the little spot he did with the fan. He grabs the fan's belt at the end of the match and kind of like showing like, I'm the guy. I'm going to be the next guy. I'm going to beat Roman kind of thing. So we'll see where this goes. Next, we have Kevin Owens versus Ezekiel, Elias, whatever you want to call him now. Generic wrestler number 4.
So here we go. This is what I wanted to ask you, and we'll get into mine and Putty speculations later. Number 1, if he actually is Elias, why is Kevin Owens so hellbent on proving that he's Elias, and why does no one believe that it's Elias? Number 1, and number 2, who the hell is Ezekiel, and where did this guy come from?
It's Elias's younger brother.
Oh, is it?
That's who he's supposed to be. It's basically, and Kevin Owens is like, no, you're just Elias without a beard. Like, he showed up on Raw a few months ago, basically right the night after Mania, and he shows up during the KO show, and KO's like, Elias?
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yep.
But it's like, it's a nothing feud, really. It was a short filler match to fill up some time. They wanted to get it. No, it wasn't. And Elias can act, or Ezekiel, whatever you want to call him, he can actually go.
But is it Elias?
It is the same. It is the same guy.
Okay.
It is the same. Like, it's basically Elias without the beard. It is
but
him.
his kayfabe thing is that he's Elias's brother.
Yes, his kayfabe, but it is Elias. But his kayfabe.
Okay,
go on Elias's.
confused.
Go on Ezekiel's Instagram. There's like Photoshopped photos of him with his brother, kind of thing, and it's like it's
That's
actually
funny.
pretty.
They put effort into it.
Yeah, they actually put effort into it. It's just like this feud doesn't mean anything though.
It was a weird match, but it really wasn't that bad. And I don't know, Putty, if you want to say whatever you're going to say, because I know we have the same idea.
Well, here's the thing, Campo, you were the one that brought up that he had the look of like the Ultimate Warrior, and it feels like they're like,
with the arm tassels.
Yeah,
even his whole outfit looked like it. It just wasn't that bright.
Well, if you look at the whole outfit and the way he wrestles, it looks like old school 80s wrestling. It really feels like he's that type of wrestler, and that Vince is actually trying to push for that. Oh, look, everything about him screams old wrestler. Think about it. Like when
he's jacked as hell.
Yeah. But like Kevin Owens, when Kevin Owens was in the corner and he kept on doing those
the
splashes against the corner, that's traditional 80s moves. You see right
his elbow drop off the top rope.
I think pure Macho Man.
I think that they're trying to create a character that's like a mashup of Hogan, Macho Man, and Warrior, and this is what Vince McMahon wants. Because like Vince McMahon looked at him and was like, "Shit, you're jacked. Let's put some tassels on you and do some 80s stuff." And he's like,
next he's gonna get some face paint.
I won't. That's what I said. I'm surprised he didn't have it. But I can see him at some point, as lame as it sounds, he's gonna get a push.
Yeah.
He seems like exactly and wrestling in the way that Vince McMahon's Legends, just how he loves it.
Yeah. I could see him going up against the guy we're going to see later on in the show as his next feud. But I mean, it wasn't a bad match. I didn't like it. The crowd, though, killed me. All you hear them chanting is "You're Elias."
Yeah, the crowd had a lot of weird moments in this match. They also went completely dead for a huge chunk of the show.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere would come back like with insane loudness.
Yeah.
They'll
do it in the main event too.
So let's talk about this for 1 second.
Yeah.
Their pay-per-view was in Chicago, Illinois, in the United Center or whatever you want to call it.
The loudest arena.
I love
now at the end of the month, Forbidden Door is going to be in the exact same place.
So we're going to hear the crowd difference.
Yeah.
And we'll get to Forbidden Door at the end of the show. There's something we need to talk about that one too.
Okay.
But to that message I sent you earlier today. But,
weirdly not a bad match.
No, it wasn't. Better than expected. But I mean, you have two talented guys. To be honest, I was surprisingly impressed by Elias and Kevin Owens. You know, he can go. So it was a good match. You know, it wasn't that long. It was under 10 minutes. It served what it needed to do. At this point, let's end the feud. Give Elias that push, or Ezekiel that push you want to give him. And I don't know where Kevin Owens goes after this, because Ezekiel lost. They're probably going to do a rematch.
Well, Kevin Owens seems like he's specifically him. He's kind of lost in the mix. He's like another Asuka that they don't know what to do with this person.
Well,
yeah.
Like
but yet he goes over. This is what surprised. I honestly thought Ezekiel was going to go over.
Yeah. Well, see, here's the thing. When it comes to Kevin Owens, ever since because I didn't really know much about him until I.
Whoa. Hold on.
To be honest with you, I don't like.
Sorry,
Kevin
Putty.
Owens.
My screen just froze for a second. What was that? Do you mind repeating? Oh, it's freezing again. One moment.
Yeah, that's fine.
One sec, guys. Sorry. Hold on.
Oh, you're
okay. Sorry. Sorry for the technical difficulties there, guys. My internet was acting a little funny. I apologize for any poor quality that you might see. Putty, sorry, you were saying about this match.
Tell us about Illinois, Putty.
Yeah. Tell about Illinois. Yeah. Illinois. Okay. Anyway, but no, the Kevin Owens thing, like I said, the first time I saw him was with the whole Stone Cold thing. It just didn't go over with me. And I even said to Campo, he doesn't seem like he told me they were trying to at one point push him as a Stone Cold badass kind of thing. And it's like, I don't see that. Like for me, he seems like a fake badass, like he's trying to be. And this is the mix. I literally said, he looks like he's the guy from Smash Mouth mixed with Patton Oswalt. Like I just can't
so
take
good. He nailed that.
Yeah, that you nailed that. He is.
It's like it's
somebody.
Nice.
But again, I can't take him seriously. So for some reason, when it comes to Kevin Owens, I feel bad that I don't feel bad for him, but the thing is, I see they're trying to push, and I just, even with the KO thing, it just seemed ridiculous. So watching this, I was more for Ezekiel, but just because he had that old fashioned look to him.
Go ahead, Campo. Sorry,
Kevin, that's you. Oh, tag you in.
Yeah,
tag you in. So
hot tag.
Originally they did go for the Stone Cold thing, but like I also said that I think the what they're trying to do with him now is they are trying to emulate what Jon Moxley is in AEW. Like he's just like a bad mouth brawler that just wants to throw down and F people up.
Basically, their version of the original Brian Pillman.
Yes. Yeah,
because that's what Moxley is. Moxley's like a Brian Pillman, just a more violent Brian Pillman.
Yeah. Well, and Brian Pillman would have got there if he stayed in the ECW when he went.
Yeah. True. But yeah, no. And like I said, the match ends and Owens goes over, which is surprising. I honestly thought if they were pushing Ezekiel, I thought they would have put Ezekiel over.
But it sets up a feud, kind of, even though there's like no story here for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, moving on. We have the Judgment Day against Liv Morgan, Finn Balor, and AJ Styles.
All right, I want to go first.
I do have a question about this.
Okay, so once again, this is where I'm going to bring this up. This is where you see, and as much as I complained about it in the last review we did about them overdoing it in AEW, this is where you see that how AEW understands how to work these type of matches, and WWE has no clue what to do because AJ Styles, like basically this match boiled down to the Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley.
Yeah,
that was the best storyline going. And that was the best part of the match. I would have rather have just seen that match. Not that this match was bad.
And they started it too. They started the match, which was the right thing to do.
As a whole, this match wasn't bad.
In terms of a mixed six-person tag match, this was better than the six-person tag match with Ty Conti, Sammy Guevara.
10 times better. But the problem is they just don't, WWE doesn't get how to do the in-ring work in these situations. It's constantly 2 people or 4 people knocked out outside while 2 people wrestle.
With a lot of spot calling.
Everybody would be going. There would just be spot.
Yeah. I think what they want to do is they want to focus on the one person as opposed to the actual group, but then that defeats the purpose of a faction.
Yes. And it also... it takes away the realness element of the wrestling because it's like, why is everyone just lying on the floor outside of the ring?
Yeah, they're having a rest.
And I got a question. Hopefully you guys found out the answer, or Campo found the answer. You might already know, JD. What happened to AJ Styles? Did anybody find out what exactly happened to him?
In what sense?
He just started pouring blood out of his head, but we didn't see him do anything.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, I saw the blood. It's same thing later in the match with Rollins. He just started bleeding. I don't know where the blood was coming from.
Well, Rollins feels like it was more real because it was set up for that. But the AJ Styles, let me explain to you why, because you can ask Campo. Yeah, at one point...
We rewatched it a few times just to find it.
You find... I'm watching it, and I see at one point that AJ Styles jumps off the corner, or jumps out of from the ropes, off of the ropes onto somebody, and I see blood on his forehead. I'm like, AJ Styles bleeding? And then, but then after that, we don't see him through the whole match. And there's people in the audience, like it can't point this out. There's people in the audience looking over AJ Styles, and then all of a sudden, as we're talking about this, that's where Campo goes, "Did you see that blood?" And I go, "Where?" Rewind it. And right behind Rhea Ripley on the left side of the ring, you see splatters of blood
all over the mat on the outside. There was a shitload of blood.
Something happened.
He must have smacked his head on that corner post.
No, when he jumped over, he landed so cleanly. That's why, because we watch it. Before the jump, he's not bleeding. In the ring, he's not bleeding. He jumps over. He doesn't hit anything. And he just is in like a skirmish on the floor where nothing's really happening. And then like a minute later, he's jumping back over the rope and he's just blood all over the side of his head.
Yeah,
I missed that part. I gotta go back and rewatch that.
On someone's elbow or something, but like
I know Ripley and Priest and them, they had like those spikes on their clothing.
That could have been it.
That could have been it. Yeah, because see, what you don't understand is like
because that's right. Now that you mention it, like AJ was gone for the rest of the match almost.
Yeah, he was done.
Because understand, even if he did, like I even said this to Campbell, even if he did, like what do you call it, blade himself. Why blade yourself? And then once you realize you had the blood, hide the whole match, and then everyone else kind of took over.
McMahon does not allow blading. So if you blade, you're in trouble. basically.
But nowadays, I heard that I know there's here if you bleed naturally, it's okay. Okay,
Hard way, yeah.
But I heard that even if that happens, if it's like a tag match like this or multiple people in the ring, they'll hide you for the rest of the match, which is basically what happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it happened earlier too, where I don't remember the match. What it was, shit. Somebody was getting their head kind of bloody, and then they just disappeared for the whole match. Was it in the tag match, or was it this?
No, it was this one. I know. What's his name? Almost started bleeding as well, and that's why I think they gave the fall to MVP.
Yeah, that match, it suddenly just ended. That's exactly what it was. Almost like disappeared from the match, and then the match just suddenly ended.
And he puts MVP in because you don't see Almost after the loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the match. But I mean, it wasn't a bad match, though. I liked it.
My biggest issue with it is that it was just kind of disjointed. They don't seem to know how to tell an in-ring story with this many people in the ring. Yeah. The one-on-one stuff, even the 2-on-2 is fine, but as soon as they get to like triple threat or 3-on-3 tag, it's like they lose focus. And like honestly, like I said, I would have rather have just watched Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan because there's already such a good storyline there. And Jesus, Rhea Ripley is such a good wrestler.
Yeah. She is
her
fantastic.
Power is phenomenal.
Yeah. And I thought Rhea Ripley was taller. She's not that tall, even compared to Liv Morgan.
No, but like when you saw her next to Edge, like body wise, she's like pretty jacked. Like she's almost like
she is a gym rat. Yeah.
But AJ Styles was great. Damian Priest is like whatever. Yeah. Edge wasn't really part of this match.
No, he was kind of out of it. It was mostly Priest and Balor.
Finn Balor did a lot of really good spots.
Yeah. There were a couple like small botches here and there.
This is going.
Yeah. And this feud is going to continue, and I'd like to see this feud continue.
Liv Morgan is used so properly in the sense that they use her. They know that she's small, so she was like getting in there, doing attacks, and then running away. Did you notice that on the outside?
Yeah, she was doing the quick hit and runs.
She would run back to the other side.
Yeah. Thing is, Judgment Day goes over one more time, so this is another one that like now they've won 3 times in a row.
But they should not have. This is okay that they won this. Because in my mind, they lost this match. That was like a crappy ending. Yeah. And the whole match was dominated by the good guys. I don't know what the hell they're called. But
they don't have a name.
The Rifle Club.
Yeah, the Rifle. Even Corey Graves makes a club, if you will.
So
even
by the
makes
way,
reference to that.
In this match, I explained the whole history of the Bullet Club to Putty.
Oh, okay.
While this was happening, but
go watch. What's his name? Brian Zane's Wrestling with Regret on the Bullet Club. That one's really good.
Yeah, I watched like a whole documentary on Kenny Omega the other day. It was very interesting. But anyways, I digress from my point.
Did you catch Rhea Ripley's nod to the man who laughs at the end?
No. She did. She spread her lipstick all up on the side of her face.
Yeah, so she did like the man who laughs, and I think that was the Justice League tattoo she has on her leg.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it was like I said, it was a good match. Not as strong as some of their other matches, but still a good match nonetheless.
So far up to this point, every match has been relatively entertaining. None of them were like perfect by any means, but like there was a solid level of entertainment. Me and Putty were fully still invested at this point.
Yeah. And I think length of the matches also has something to do with it.
Yeah. Well, getting into this next match is where we completely became uninvested.
Seriously. I really enjoyed this next match. Madcap Moss versus Happy Corbin, round 2.
Absolutely one of the most cop-out, pretend to be hardcore matches I've ever seen.
Okay, I'm going to jump here because I'm actually halfway in the middle of this. Here's the reason why. I like Madcap Moss. I like the way that he's turning out to be. Now, took out the suspenders. I like the way it turned out. Happy Corbin, just separate this. I'm tired of the Happy Corbin thing and everything. I like there was no holds barred, but it did not feel no holds barred. So, like for example, I liked watching Madcap. That's what I liked about it, and I liked it was entertaining in that way. The audience freaking wanted tables. They never got their tables in that match, but don't worry, that'll come later. But my point is I enjoyed it, but I was kind of like. I enjoyed it because I like Madcap Moss and I liked the way he is in the ring. The whole thing with Happy Corbin just feels awkward, to be honest with you. And the constant pulling of everything he was pulling from under the ring.
Whereas I liked Corbin. I really liked Corbin. I'm glad Madcap Moss got rid of the stupid suspenders.
His new look is far better.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is more of his look the way he was when he was in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's not so much to me that the wrestling was bad or anything like that, but it was a kind of boring match. I don't care about the storyline at all. This is like
maybe that's
definition.
Why.
This is the definition of ripping off at what MJF and Wardlow did. This is like a perfect WWE moment of like, yes, we totally copied that. But
yeah, but I mean, I still thought, like, I personally think Corbin is becoming that good mid-card heel. He'll never win a championship, but if you need a heel in the mid-card, you go with Baron Corbin. You know what I mean?
That's fair, but like, I don't want these matches on pay-per-views. Once again, it's the mid-card guys. Like, to me, Madcap is not even a mid-carder. Madcap is like someone who opens up the night for like Raw.
And gets a good baby face win to get the crowd hot.
But he never gets to wrestle in the pay-per-view. That's like the thing. And Corbin is like, mid-card heel, but like, also, I don't need him. I don't need this feud. I don't need anything. And like I said, every spot felt like we're setting up for something huge, and then it was nothing happened.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look at the power. He's literally holding the guy around his waist. And like, I was like, what are we watching? I'm sorry. Like, I get if people like this match.
This is what, 4 or 5 pay-per-views now in a row where we still have not seen the IC champion yet. Where's Ricochet?
No, I don't know. And I don't even know. Like, there's more than him. Okay. There's other people here too that, like, why is nobody getting to wrestle? Okay. In any
Where's
other
Sami Zayn?
In any other wrestling company, okay, at New Japan, anything. If the whole crowd started screaming for tables, they would have called an audible in ring,
and the tables would have come out.
This was like, if we do this because we're mid-carders, Vince McMahon's gonna get mad at us. We better not do it.
Yeah,
like.
Whereas Tony Khan said, give the crowd. Tony Khan would say, give the crowd what they want.
Yeah, but
they only had 2 tables under the ring, and they needed it. I know, for the next...
that's the thing, right? But Adam Page totally would have went to CM Punk and been like, "We're going to put each other through a table right now." Okay,
CM Punk would have been, "Hell yeah, let's do this."
Yeah, of course, and that's my point. But these guys are not high enough on the card to mess around with Vince McMahon.
I don't know. Well, I mean, before, when Triple H was still in the picture, Corbin had the backup of Triple H, but now with Triple H gone, I don't think Corbin has that kind of pull anymore.
Okay, that's fair.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I never knew that there was a Triple H Corbin thing, but you had said yourself about you like the heel that Happy Corbin is. Here's the thing. For me, you don't always like the heel because it's the bad guy, but you enjoy seeing the bad guy.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I don't like the character of Happy. I was going to call him Happy Hogan. Happy Corbin. I don't like the character, but his in-ring work as a mid-card heel is what I like. He has that technical ability. You know what I mean? He's not a bad wrestler.
But like, when you're going through this, okay, so it's not, this pay-per-view isn't like overly long or anything. But I didn't need the almost match. The only thing I gained out of that was that Bobby Lashley is going to get a push, which I'm okay with that. I didn't need Ezekiel versus Kevin Owens.
No, and I didn't need this one.
I didn't need this. So you're already 3 matches out of the 7 matches didn't even need to be on this PPV.
But then the pay-per-view would have been shorter than an episode of SmackDown.
This whole thing, technically, to me, felt like an episode of SmackDown. In my opinion, I would have put the cage in for every match. I would have made all of these matches be in the cage. Why is it called Hell in a Cell?
Yeah, you know what? The opening match, the women's triple threat, would have been great in a Hell in a Cell. Yeah. Like,
I'm gonna be honest. This is like how much I don't pay attention. I thought that was the match that was supposed to be in the cell.
There you go.
So
see,
when it opened the pay-per-view, I was looking at Putty. I'm like, there's no way they're starting the pay-per-view with this.
Yeah, and they didn't. They swerved you.
No, I thought the women's match was going to be at the end in the cell.
Oh,
I didn't think it was
you thought that was going to be the main event. Yeah. You thought Rollins and Rhodes.
Why the fuck is Rollins versus Cody Rhodes with no belt in the line? Main event of anything.
Another one.
We'll get into that when we get into the main event. Next, I guess you can call it your co-main event. You had hometown boy Mustafa Ali against Austin Theory, or just Theory now.
You guys can talk. I didn't know who these guys were.
Yeah, I had to do a lot of explaining.
I didn't care.
Mustafa Ali, he's the hometown boy. He's from Chicago. They were trying to get the crowd behind him, I guess. He also had a contract, not a contract dispute, but a few months back, he asked for his release, and Vince McMahon said basically, hell no. No chance in hell.
I told Putty about all of this, I don't like how they played that as an angle for him. Like, now his character's whole thing is that, like, he's against the man because they try. No, he would really want it out of this company. Don't use that as a storyline for him. What kind of nonsense is that? And I didn't like that at all. There's no story for this match. We watched the hype package. There's no back behind this.
No, it's just he won a match.
Austin Theory. I fucking hate Austin Theory. He's the worst character in wrestling.
I like this Captain America inspired.
He's not a bad wrestler. It's just
the character.
My only note for this is great work in the ring. Didn't care 1%.
See, here's the thing. Here's again. I'm always gonna be the one that's gonna be all about themes or theatrics when it comes to things like this. But here's my thing. Again, 80s, we have just the basic wrestling. I understand that. I still love it. The reason these were too boring is there's so much generic, no charisma. And if you're gonna just have no charisma, be generic, you got to show off really spectacular moves, much like AEW does.
There's no draw to this match at all. There was no draw.
That's why I don't even get it. It was literally like you said. You pulled a guy out of your pocket who doesn't want to work for you, who hasn't really wrestled at all.
We're in his hometown. Let's put him here so we can get the
match.
Yeah,
and let's make his angle that he doesn't like Vince McMahon. Like, he's against WWE. Like, okay, that's great. He is. This is the same idea
again,
as
MJF.
The Scott Hall drunk situation, or like the Jeff Hardy when he was all messed up in TNA, and they tried to use that as an angle.
The only different, it didn't work then, and it doesn't work now. So I think this is basically Vince McMahon slapping him in the face kind of thing. We're going to put you in your home.
He's a good wrestler.
Mustafa, he is. He's not a bad wrestler, and he's talented. He's quick, and he's got some great athleticism to him. They both do. They did show some flashes of brilliance, like that single leg takedown that Ali did and transitioned it right into the STF. Like, it was. Like, it was
a decent match, but it just there's zero story. And you got to have something in a match to keep me interested. Especially,
this is where you could have put Ricochet in, but McMahon's behind Theory all the way.
No, whatever.
I want pay-per-views. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm just always preaching about AEW, but it's the last thing we watched. For pay-per-views. And I think if you're going to do a pay-per-view event, every title, if not everyone, almost all of them should be on the line. Why am I watching a pay-per-view to watch a feud that's already had 7 matches? Who cares?
Yeah. Rousey's a part-timer, so she wasn't there. Reigns is a part-timer now. He wasn't there.
Lesnar's a part-timer, so he's not there.
Which one?
Lesnar.
Yeah, Lesnar. Ricochet was not on the show, who's not a part-timer. He's there.
He's a title holder. I know Lesnar's not a title holder. I'm just saying.
Ever since Sasha and Naomi walked out, the women's tag titles disappeared.
Yeah, and
they could have had why didn't they build a tournament?
The tournament should have been on this night.
Yeah, it should have ended on this night. I agree. They should have done something with that too. But name me a women's tag.
Shayna Baszler and
Natalya.
That's the best tag team they have, actually.
Yeah, just give it to them.
It's WWE is a mess right now. They're an absolute mess.
Their women's division is not that deep that they can have a tag title division,
especially not the way injuries have been happening to them.
And the fact that you released probably one of the most over women's tag teams that were a tag team, and they were over, maybe not as talented in the Iconics, Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, but you had to give them that they were a tag team. They were a true women's tag team, which now in Impact, aren't they the women's tag team champions in Impact?
Who?
Billie Kay and Peyton Royce.
No, it's Emma, whatever her name is.
Oh, yeah.
Neil Dashwood and her other partner. They're not called the Iconics. They're called the
Inspiration
or something. Inspiration, yeah. Because they retired, Peyton Royce, and they relinquished the titles and they retired.
Okay.
Or they lost them on a pay-per-view and retired.
Oh, like a loser leaves town kind of thing?
No, they said they just didn't want to do wrestling anymore. They want to focus on other things.
Okay. Most likely OnlyFans or something, right? Who knows?
I'll subscribe.
Right? Theory goes over, takes a selfie, which is a gimmick totally stolen from Tyler Breeze.
It's so dumb. Like, I don't care that you took the selfie, but then showing it on the screen is so dumb.
Yeah.
Like,
he's giving me Sammy Guevara vibes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I don't like, because Sammy Guevara right now has go away heat.
Sammy Guevara has like put me in a dumpster and run away heat.
And light it on fire.
Yeah,
and run away.
That they ruined that character. And it's funny because I just saw a bunch of videos about that too, where the subject came up and people were like, you got to get rid of this guy. Either you need to change this whole thing now or just get rid of him.
Yeah, because he's going nowhere now.
Yeah, they've ruined it all. And like, you're never going to be able to separate him and Tay.
Yeah, that's because he wants it right now.
Yeah, they're saying, like, a lot of people are behind the scenes saying that their relationship is like gross the way that they are. Like, they literally like piss together. You can't even get them to walk away from each other.
Yeah. I don't know.
So
whatever. That's a topic for another day.
Yeah, WWE.
So with that, we're going into our main event. Cody Rhodes against Seth Rollins, round 3.
Okay. So I have a question, because here's my thing. This started from the beginning. We skipped all the promos. Like I said, Campo had to get out late and everything. I had to wait till they did the re-showing where they re-show it on Peacock when it fully develops and everything. And we watched it. When we got here, we skipped the promo. All of a sudden, we see Cody Rhodes take off his jacket, and there's a big ass bruise on his chest.
Now, he has a torn pectoral. He did this whole match with basically no right arm because he has a torn pec.
Well, that was the first thing. I was like, was that real? It looks real, or was that makeup? Second thing, here was the thing. We rewound the video, which, by the way, we did like the promo for this.
Yeah, well, no, we didn't just like it. This is one of the best setup promos that I've seen in a long time.
But to not show what happened, how he got the bruise, was the one thing that made us still go, what the heck?
Because he got the bruise in training. It wasn't an in-ring. It wasn't an in-ring injury.
So, but we were like looking it up after because we couldn't figure it out. And right when I said it, I'm like, oh, he has a torn pectoral muscle. The announcer said the exact same thing right after I said it. And I was like, oh my God.
It looked vicious though.
It did. It did.
Like, that's why. Like,
it was hard as hell, bro. That was sick.
Like, I mean, how the hell did one go 25 minutes, and like how he was able to work with basically one arm?
Yeah.
Like, you got to. Cody Rhodes is a beast, man. Got to give it to him.
The match was like a good match. There was a lot of really good in-ring.
Aside from one thing that still bothers me to this day that I was making jokes about. We'll get to that.
Well, I mean, I like the fact that Rollins came out in full-on Dusty Rhodes polka dots.
Yes, I forgot to say that. Yeah, that was pretty cool. And there was also the use of the cowbell.
Yep,
which is like
the
a
bull
Dusty
rope.
Rhodes thing.
That's a Dusty Rhodes thing.
Putty calls it. He's like, he's gonna pull something out from under the ring that's gonna have to do with his dad. But so Putty, save your thing all the way till the end, because Putty has a good thing. But okay, so there was one point at the match started off really slow and super boring. Okay?
Yes, I have that written down too.
One small thing happened, and the whole crowd was going, "This is awesome!" And I literally wrote here, I'm like, there were some good spots. The whole crowd was cheering, "This is awesome," and I was like, "Yeah, that was okay."
That was okay. But they were chanting at one point too. They were chanting, "Thank you, Rollins." I don't know why.
But it was like at that point when they were all screaming, "This is awesome," nothing even good had happened. What was so awesome?
The crowd woke up. Maybe somebody fell down the stairs with some popcorn. Who knows?
Maybe, but it turned out into like a pretty good match. But I wrote down here, and me and Putty were talking about it. As good as some of these spots are, when they specifically try to use weapons or like tables or items,
plunder
or, like,
items,
throwing people into the fence, whatever happens. Okay, I've become desensitized to this from watching so much New Japan and AEW and even Impact, where it's like nothing here to me was anything that I would freak out about.
We're gonna
none of it.
That's exactly what we get into.
Yeah, and I want to say that too is the sell. It's supposed to be the blow off to a feud, but the sell didn't come. I did not once see a face rake against the cage.
There was one where I said I was like, the guy who painted the fence red must have been upset that they ruined his paint job.
But see, so there's a few things I want to point out. One, if this was AEW, someone would have been climbing on top of the cage on the, like by the hands and dropping down. There would have been something crazy like that. You know what I mean? That's just how they do. And it used to be like that. Like Mick Foley would do stupid stuff like that or anything like that. Or
but even
someone else that had the athleticism.
They made mention to the fact that this was Rollins' 5th Hell in a Cell match, which he's lost 3 of. Okay. And the first Hell in a Cell match he was in was Hell in a Cell, October 2014 against Dean Ambrose, now Jon Moxley. There was a spot in that match where they wouldn't let him go to the top. They kind of just like looked at each other and fell backwards. Go watch that spot from Hell in a Cell 2014. And the 2016 match where he lost to Owens. He lost the Universal Championship to Owens in that match. The only spot was Owens when he did the elbow drop. The only person who's allowed to do something like that from a cell for some reason is Shane McMahon.
No, because Shane McMahon didn't listen. He just went and did it.
Yeah, because what's Vince going to do? Fire him? Oh, yeah, he did.
I didn't know about that. Well, here's my thing. I'm going to say this right now. Again, with AEW, I know they're taking risks on the wrestlers, but that's what the entertainment. That's what even though I kept on saying, I know this stuff is fake, but there's sometimes I just look at it and go, why are they trying to make this look real when anybody, even a 10-year-old, could be like, that looks bad? And I'm about to bring up 2 of those. But the thing is, I understand you want to protect your wrestlers, but that's the reason it's called wrestling. You have to have, there's going to be some risk no matter what. And prime example is, for one thing, if you saw the table that goes in the beginning of the ring, went into the middle ring, you literally see there's a cut down the middle.
Oh yeah,
like it's
gimmicked.
Like
table.
It looks like it's glued down the middle.
And you could tell also by the way that it broke, because it didn't just snap; it shot across into 3 pieces.
It disintegrated. Yeah.
And then the worst thing, ever since Triple H brought it into play, even though it's even smaller too, and this, I'm hating this now. I want Sledgehammers gone for 2 reasons. One, the Sledgehammer they brought into the ring, way too small. I was making jokes about how the announcers are like increasing the size of it when it's an itty bitty Sledgehammer. But then it
looked like a ball peen hammer with a big handle.
Yes.
Yeah. But I would literally use my remote for it.
Because
go ahead.
Yeah, it's much smaller than the one Triple H used to use.
You know why? For what Putty's about to say right now.
And then they're always doing this. They're like, I'm gonna use this, and then they'll hold it, and then their hand will be over the sledgehammer, and they'll go,
because now their whole hand can cover the whole sledgehammer.
Yeah,
so there's no blood. You can't have blood if they don't touch metal to head.
You literally see them cover their hand with it, and their hands hit them. And
I'm surprised they showed the replay so many times, because you can clearly see that it's Cody's hand hitting him in the head.
It bugs me that people, because you hear people freaking out, because like when the tables came to the thing, all the fans freaked out because finally we got tables after the whole thing with Madcap, Moss, and Corbin. But then this Sledgehammer thing, there's people still getting excited over this, and I'm like, are you guys not seeing the same thing I am? Like, how can you sit here and take this as a realistic thing?
I think the Sledgehammer thing too was a throwback to when Cody Rhodes, the first pay-per-view he did with AEW, where he took the Sledgehammer to the throne to mock like breaking Triple H's throne, so the throne breaker.
I was gonna say that, but this is another thing. So Putty brings up a good point, because he even said something during the pay-per-view. He said, I'm not the type of guy that calls out the little mistakes, because I know that wrestling isn't like it's supposed to be like this. So like I'm willing to overlook these things. But like he was so upset about the Sledgehammer. As soon as the Sledgehammer came out, he immediately got offended by it.
Because it was so small.
But like I even wrote here, I hate how the Sledgehammer, specifically in WWE, has become like a prominent weapon that's always featured.
Go in the games. If you play the games, you'll always find a Sledgehammer in the game.
If you watch any other wrestling, okay, they'll use other random things, but you got chairs and tables. And I'm totally okay with 20 table spots in a match. Just don't bust out a sledgehammer because I don't want to see that nonsense. Nobody's going to hit anybody with a sledgehammer, so don't even break it out.
You would literally murder somebody with that.
Exactly. It's just come on.
I think, to me too, I think it also looked awkward because the head of the hammer was so small compared to the actual handle.
Yeah,
it
was
just
clearly replaced.
Yeah, it looked awkward. It didn't look right.
JD, sometimes I kind of want to watch these with you because I feel like you get a good laugh. You can ask Campo. We were talking about how the announcers inflate things so much with the conversation
because Vince is in their ear chirping.
Well, not even just that, and they say the most generic things ever that I was literally.
Oh wait, buddy, can you just do your impression?
I don't know if I can still do it, but I was like, he's in there getting him. I can't remember exactly how I did it, but I was.
No, he was like a robot. I was like, yes, they are the best wrestlers.
Oh, yeah,
the wrestling is the best.
Oh,
There's
this is the
best right now.
Yeah, I was just like sitting here going, he's got a sledgehammer. Oh, he's so good with it. Look at him.
That is a lethal weapon.
That one guy literally sounds like he's reading like a really bad note that a kid.
Corey Graves or Jimmy Smith?
Corey Graves. Wrestling is best. It is so best. Why do you not like the wrestling?
I literally was sitting there going, oh my God, that sledgehammer is huge. Don't use the sledgehammer. He's going to get hurt. Oh no, this is a bad situation. I'm like, dude, this is your.
But okay, like, I want to say something here.
Commentating aside,
good.
Yes, it was.
This match was pretty good, but I'm gonna sit here and I'm reviewing it. I'm gonna poke holes in shit that's wrong. And the last thing I want to say, because this was actually a good match, okay? What the mother F beep 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 is the point of the Crossroads? He took like 30 of them and was still standing up.
He had to finish. He couldn't even finish with it. He had to use the sledgehammer to win the match.
Why? He did 3 of them on him in a row, I'm pretty sure, and he still stood up after.
I told Campo, I said, you know how that move works? It's not about damage. You get it's to make your enemy dizzy and yourself dizzy. That's all it is. It's just basically flipping around like they're rolling down a hill.
Yeah, because it's like, no okay, hill. Once again,
it's a swinging
I'm sorry
neck
to
breaker.
go back to this, but like a perfect example is Kenny Omega's finisher, the one-winged angel.
Right.
Okay. There's only been one ever person to kick out of it. Okay. And I'm okay if people kick out of finishers. But when guys who aren't the biggest, baddest right now, let's say Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns, because he's the title holder, if they're not the ones kicking out of it, then what is the point of your finisher? If Seth Rollins is kicking out of 17 of your finisher in one match, you need a new finisher, guys.
Right. The fact that they used each other's finisher on each other and it didn't work, like when Rhodes did the pedigree and it didn't work, and Seth Rollins did the crossroads on Cody and it didn't work.
It's just like
the stomp. The stomp didn't work either. Like, and that's
abuse,
one of
the sheer abuse of finishers in WWE right now makes me sick because like. I'm not even like a wrestling like aficionado and by any means at this point anymore, at least. But like, I know for a fact that a good finisher should win you matches. You shouldn't have to do it 10 times just to have to hit a guy with a sledgehammer to win the match.
Yeah.
I mean, listen,
well, it's like let's go back to someone like the Undertaker. When the Undertaker hit that tombstone, that's it. You knew it was over. Like when Brock Lesnar kicked out of that tombstone, everybody was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, but it's Brock Lesnar. That's acceptable, okay?
Yeah.
And this is a very good example of this. When arguably the biggest wrestler in the world at the time, maybe the biggest ever, okay, The Rock takes a Stone Cold Stunner and does a triple backflip over the ropes and is just down and out. That's a finish.
He's dead. Yeah.
Like when you get stunned and when Stone Cold is just literally knocking the entire ring full of people unconscious with stunners, that's how you do a finishing move.
Well, see, here's the other thing too. Like I said, there's WCW wrestlers. You know, one of my favorite wrestlers. His is the same way. He would jackknife, power bomb, bam, he was done. But what made those so special was there would be so many times they do it where they would win right after. So someone big like Brock Lesnar to kick out or something like that would make the crowd go wild. It's now to the point where finishers are just like, oh, they're just part of the moves.
Yeah.
Huh?
Okay, but the thing was, he also used the spear to set up the jackhammer. So it was like a combination of moves. That's why when you tell me Edge or Roman Reigns, when they use the spear as a finisher, I can't get behind that.
Listen, this is a perfect example. We complained about it in the last event when Roman Reigns did the spear out of nowhere on a guy who had 0 damage done to him and beat him, number one. And we saw Bobby Lashley spear almost with literally he destroyed his life. And we watched the replay like 3 times, and all that happens is he runs and he like lightly taps him with his arm. You could see it clear as day, and then almost jumps across the ring.
He throws himself.
Like, I don't care how big you are, unless you're like maybe Bobby Lashley in real life could do it. But even a massively large person almost is so big that if you ran up to him and tried to spear him, you would just fall over and you'd
bounce off of him.
Like, well, I don't understand why that's a finishing move, but Putty has a good point with that. And like even Shawn Michaels, his super kicks are ending matches.
Yeah.
Okay?
Now
this goes to AEW where they're just
super kicks are a gimmick.
Crap out of each other, and it's just a gimmick. I don't get that.
Yeah.
Well, you got to think about it. One of the most influential, like one of the most famous wrestlers, I won't say, I guess still influential. I don't know. One of the most famous wrestlers out there, Hulk Hogan's finishing move is a drop kick that looks so generic.
A leg drop.
That looks so generic.
But it would end matches. I think the only person like up until more recent towards the end of his career, up until that point, only the Warrior was ever able to kick out of Hogan's leg drop.
But that's what made those good. But see, the thing is, I don't think it's a good one compared to something like, the rock bottom, things of that nature, or
Stone Cold Stunner.
Yeah. But the thing is nowadays it doesn't even seem like the finisher has anything to it. There was always a buildup. It's kind of like a storybook. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have them.
The finisher's not protected anymore.
Grapple. Nope, it isn't. And the problem is
for certain people on the level of Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, they need protected finishers. They're so important to this company. They need to have protected finishers. These are going to be your next guys going for titles.
But see, that's the thing too. Triple H, when he used the pedigree, nobody kicked out of the pedigree.
Yeah, and that was such a shitty finisher.
Right. So how is it like when he did it, it was fine, but now that Rollins is doing it, everybody's kicking out of it?
Yeah, but I bet you if Triple H just walked back for no reason and just did it to somebody, they'd be out they'd have to call an ambulance.
Yeah.
We're starting to see a lot of finishers that look a lot like old finishers too. Like I
just allude.
Bianca's finisher is protected. The TKO.
A few people are like Becky Lynch. Anything Becky Lynch does is protected, and I hate it. It makes me sick.
Orton, the RKO.
Yeah. Which the RKO doesn't even look like it does anything. But some people do some amazing RKOs.
Yeah.
Okay? Like those crazy off the top. Okay. So but it eludes me at the moment. What the hell was the Warrior's finisher?
He had the gorilla press slam.
Is that what it was?
That's press him and throw him and then pin him.
Because I'm thinking in my head, I was trying to remember what
he would do would he press him
and then drop him, right?
Then run the ropes and kind of splash on top of him.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was the finisher or not.
Yeah, I guess they would make it look like he dropped him from such height that he can't get up, kind of.
But okay, so well, in this match, Cody won.
Yeah, Cody won for the third time.
Yeah, see, you know what? We're on a trend now. Now that you said that, how many of these matches has it been the same person who keeps winning?
Yeah.
But it's like, so this is what I noticed. As good as AEW matches are, okay, WWE excels in a certain category. Number one
pacing
is the entrances, the pacing of the pay-per-views, the length. The way that they the visuals of the match, the camera work is phenomenal.
Yeah,
you very rarely catch an angle where you see the botch, where AEW seems to like zoom right in on that botch and show it to you for some reason.
Like I was telling Campo, I was even using an analogy with it. The thing is I get the reason I feel Vince is good at that kind of stuff is because he's been doing it for years. He's got the experience to know how to practice. AEW is still new. You know what I mean? They're not. They have to understand how that works.
Yeah, but I mean, they also. But AEW has veteran producers backstage. That's what I'm saying,
and they don't seem to have like it. This doesn't seem like a thing where that they're eventually going to learn how to do this because it doesn't seem like it's a priority for them. Is the way that
they want to make it look like guerrilla filming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're just capturing this as it happens, kind of thing. Whereas it's. I guess that's a good. Is the production value? Absolutely, the production value
in WWE is phenomenal.
Is top notch.
Phenomenal. They gave us some angles where on the replay, the visual that we got was even better. Like there was, I don't remember who it was. Someone got thrown into the ring post. And then the replay angle was it from the other side of the guy flying like head first right into the ring post.
That was, I think, Corbin and Moss.
Yeah, I was like, this is crazy. AEW would have just re-showed you that same angle where you couldn't see anything.
No, they have more. I know they have more cameras. Like you said, the producers really know what they're doing. You got to definitely give them credit for that. But
you know what? Shout out to Asuka's her theme song is awesome.
Yeah.
That song is so good. Okay.
That is a good theme. It's one of the
Off
best.
Topic,
but yeah, like we said, Cody goes over yet again. So for the third time, Cody goes over. Cody's probably going to be out for at least 6 months now, 3 to 6 months. Because who knows what kind of damage he did to that.
That means he'll be coming back
for the Rumble.
Right as Roman Reigns comes back.
No, Roman Reigns is back in September for that match against Drew McIntyre and
I'm not
Wales.
counting that. When his part-time contract goes back into full-time for the winter season.
Yeah,
I believe
for
it's
Rumble
like 6
Mania.
months.
Yeah. So we can safe to say that Cody Rhodes is not going to win Money in the Bank.
No.
Because he's gone. He won't be back in time for next month.
It's going to be Bobby
because
Lashley.
June, July, August. The earliest he could SummerSlam's in early July this year, so he won't be back for SummerSlam. I think maybe Survivor Series could be the earliest he could be back.
And see, me and Campo were talking and everything, and Campo even said, "How are they going to do it?" And I told him, I said, "I really think my theory is actually true now based on the situation." We were talking about how are they going to set up a story because we were talking about how you got Reigns. He's now like part-time. You barely see him. There's no story development for him anymore, basically. But he also has the belts, things of that nature. The thing is, if they do even relinquish the belts, there's still that whole storyline of him being the head of the table, things of that nature. And I know we had the discussion before, but my thing is he said himself, what are they going to do as far as storyline? And I said, listen, I know I'm like a broken record, but the reason I stated is because the easiest shoehorn thing is to make it a family thing, even though I found out they aren't actually related. Thank you, Campo, for telling me that. They aren't actually related.
Rock and Roman Reigns are so very, 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 very barely related.
Yeah. Okay, I thought you meant like the Usos. They're like cousins.
No, the Usos are not related to them at all. I looked it up.
The Usos are related to Roman.
Oh, to Roman?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not related to The Rock at all.
No. The Rock, the only reason why he's part of the Anoa'i family is because a High Chief Peter Maivia married one of the sisters or something like that. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
It's way down the line.
They're not blood related. They're distant cousins, it says.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Because of that whole storyline and because there's not going to be any way to lead into anything, that seems like the logical thing. They bring The Rock in. He just says, you're not the head of the table. Then all of a sudden, I'll show you at WrestleMania. WrestleMania Hollywood comes. Here comes The Rock. They have a fight. Rock wins.
So basically, from all the pundits, everything I've read, Putty's theory was right. It's going to happen 100%. The Rock is going to come back and fight. This is the issue that people are all worried about. There's no way in hell The Rock is going to get 2 months off to come week to week to build a storyline for this. And Roman Reigns is on part-time right now. So when is this going to happen? There's going to be one Raw episode or one SmackDown where they're going to come out, argue, and then there's going to be a pay-per-view match?
That's why I said head of the table literally would be the only thing. For him to come out there and say...
It doesn't matter what your storyline is, Putty. It's not going to work in one day.
It can't,
The
only way it can work is if The Rock comes into the Royal Rumble as a surprise entrant, wins, and says, Roman, I'll see you at Mania.
Because, I get what you're saying, Putty, and the storyline works. But you can't just have him after all this time where The Rock has been trying to put over Reigns the whole time, just shows up and goes, I'm the head of the table now.
Well, the reason I understand he's been putting him over, but that's the whole point. Reigns right now, even remember, there's a whole situation with Reigns too. Reigns can still keep the belt. This doesn't have to be for a belt. It's a more of
it's not going to be for a belt, but it has to be. There has to be a build where they fall out. And then it turns into The Rock being like, someone needs to put you in your place.
Learn your place, young one.
But why wouldn't it already be there? He can be...
Because it's never been set up. That's the problem. This is not a one-day setup.
But no, it's so easy to just look at it in my sense. Let me explain. Look at my sense of just The Rock looking at the past.
Okay, so before this episode of the show goes on for like 8 hours, in 1 minute, explain to me on this one episode of Raw how you're going to
set it up.
Okay, so basically, we still have Reigns. He's there. He just came back and everything. He's talking about no one can stop me. I'm the head of the table. My family's big, and I am the leader of this family. No one can stop me. All of a sudden, The Rock comes out, and he's like, I've been hearing you sit here and talk about how you're the head of this table. There is nobody at the head of this table, unlike our family. They would talk about even about like the generations, all that kind of stuff, and sit there and say, understand. You need to stop with this. You are not showing the family off right, and you need to like he just basically says stop this. Of course, Ray would be like too pig-headed and be like, what are you going to do about it? You don't wrestle no more. You're Hollywood. You're not going to be here. I'm the head of the table. You can never be the head of the table. Bam! You started to set up a thing where The Rock like, well, then let's see at WrestleMania challenge. It's stupid,
but you still need a build up. What are you going to start doing? Bringing all the are you going to bring in? Are you going to bring Rikishi back to set up a match?
I did it for The Rock. I'm going to give this to you. That was actually really good.
Yeah, because you got to think
also you still can't do that, and realistically, it's not going to work in one day.
Well, you got to think.
That's why I was saying you got to bring some of the other guys in.
Well, the reason I say this is because it's The Rock. You bring in The Rock and have him say anything, the crowd's going to go fucking nuts. If you hear that he's going to challenge Roman Reigns, you don't have to have a huge weekly story. That one line right there would make everyone freak out, and they're like, take my money.
That's fair. You don't need it, but me as a person who's not even that big of a wrestling fan, I want that storyline, and I'm sure real big wrestling fans want that storyline.
I want a storyline too, but that's why I
don't want to have a Hogan moment where Hogan just shows up and is like, "There's a match at WrestleMania, brother,"
like he did against Yokozuna at WrestleMania 9.
But I like your idea for where.
Yeah, that's why I think it would work better if The Rock won the Rumble. At least it sets something up.
How about there's a setup like Putty's idea? Let's say, Putty's idea exactly how Putty said it, which then leads to The Rock being upset, but nothing's happened yet. Like a couple weeks down the road, there's an issue where they attack The Rock because they don't like The Rock. So then The Rock says, I'm joining the Rumble to win the Rumble, so I face you. Now you have a story that's better. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
But
I know there's some writer jobs available on WWE, guys. Maybe we should.
All three of us are going to apply as one guy, Smitherson. And okay, but we've got to finish this episode.
Yes. Going back to the last match, good match. I felt it would have meant more if there was a title on the line.
Yeah, a lot more. But I still think it was a good match. Overall, what would you guys rate the show? What was the match of the night? First.
Me? Okay. I rate the show same as the last one, 7.5, maybe a little bit better, maybe about 7.5 to an 8, somewhere in between there. I enjoyed it. It had me entertained for the most part. Some of the matches were better than they had any right to be, as the Elias match or the Baron Corbin match. Match of the night for me was the main event, was Rollins and Cody once again. Basically.
I guess I'll go. Here's
go ahead, Putty.
I don't have a favorite match of the night. As far as like worst, it would be tied between the Theory match and the Bobby Lashley almost match. That would be the worst one. I mean, the almost Bobby Lashley in my eyes was still a little bit better than the Theory match. It was just so boring to me. Like I was wanting to fall asleep.
There's no charisma. There's no draw.
Even the match just didn't feel interesting. And here's my thing. I wish I can go back and change even my WrestleMania scores, because I know that I was talking about how low, but I've gotten, you guys have gotten me so much into AEW. That's just such a comparison that I want to drop my WrestleMania scores and actually say 6 for those and 7 for this. This was better than WrestleMania, but it's like, I'm sitting here watching this, and when I see literally, like I saw the watch on AEW, it was a Dynamite or Rampage. I can't remember what was the one you told me you watched. What was it?
Rampage.
When I saw that first match on Rampage, that is pay-per-view matchmaking. That is a pay-per-view match right there. And when none of the matches
on a B show,
when none of the matches when none of the matches on this pay-per-view compared to an opening match on a regular, basic cable match on AEW, I want to even give my score even lower, but I'm actually being nice because there is some entertaining factors. But honestly, WWE, you're starting to look horrible to me, and I wish we were back to the WCW Raw, Nitro Raw days, because I don't think we're ever going to have it. And it just, I can't. But anyway, that's 7.
Campo.
Okay, so I want to make this super clear. So for my worst match, I'm not going to pick the almost match because I think it wasn't very good, but they're showing progression. I don't know if he's necessarily getting better, but the matches each time have gotten better.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say that. For me, I'm definitely picking the Madcap Moss versus Baron Corbin. And the reasoning is because of leading you on in the sense that every time you thought there was going to be a hardcore moment, there wasn't. And it was supposed to be an anything goes match. And I also don't care at all about this storyline.
A lot of cock blocking in that match.
Yeah. For the best match, I'm going to say it was the finale. I think that match was the best match.
Not their best match, but the best match of the night.
But it was the best match of the night. I think overall this was, and it's weird how I would score this because I would say this was as good
as Backlash,
which I gave an 8.1. Okay. Because I thought that was better. Every match in that was better than the WrestleMania match, except for Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes. So with this,
which was still a good match.
I do think this was equal all the way through in terms of that, but I didn't care about any of the storylines for this. And also the ones that I'm really invested in, I guess you would say, from seeing them throughout the pay-per-views, I don't care about anymore. I don't want any more almost. I don't want any more Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes. I don't want any more of this. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a 7.75.
I want to jump in and say one thing. I could doing the comparative with the AEW, WWE. The reason I'm using this is because AEW, if I don't pay attention to those small shows, I've noticed that I have to go and look back at things to fill in the gaps because there's so much more developing storyline between each pay-per-view at AEW that I feel like I have to go fill myself in. I think so. And the reason I state this is because of one reason. WWE, since WrestleMania to Backlash to this, it has been the same feuds and storylines throughout the whole thing. Think about it. Rollins and Cody Rhodes, ever since Cody Rhodes came in as the surprise WrestleMania match with him, they've been the thing. Almost and Bobby Lashley, same thing.
It's funny because we keep calling him the wrong name because we're so convinced of saying almost a wrestler.
I know. Becky
Lynch and Bianca Belair.
Yes,
another one.
I'm going with this.
And there actually is like a better. It's not that the storylines are better. It's the way the storytelling is in WWE is much better planned out. Where AEW is like fly by the seat of my pants and do really bad promos. Really bad promos.
But I want to say this though. Yeah, maybe there's a long going story, but there's no reason for me to be invested in.
No, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but for me, I think to watch AEW, I don't need to know anything that's going on.
No,
to watch WWE, sometimes like we had to watch. If we didn't watch that Seth Rollins versus Cody package, we would have missed out on so much good information. That was one of the best packages I've seen. No, it was a good.
All you got to do is watch the pre-show before the actual event. That tells you everything.
But see, here's the thing, though. That's John. Here's the thing. That pre-show, that promo we watched, that was amazing. Or that setup and everything, that was amazing. But it still wasn't something I needed. Let me explain. We only watched that because of the bruising, and we never got an answer to that. If we didn't watch that part, Campo, we literally would not need to know anything else because of one reason.
Okay.
It's still the same storyline, the backlash.
I'm going to ask you one question, though, and just answer me. So you've watched a few of the weekly AEW things. You've seen the last two pay-per-views. Okay.
Yeah.
At any point during any of those situations, was there any running storyline where they even attempted to explain anything to you? No, there wasn't, because there are no storylines.
Well, no, I get that there's no storyline.
Okay, number one, you're wrong.
Okay, Hook and Danhausen have a storyline.
We forgot that Chris Jericho is a wizard.
Yeah, there you go. That's another one. See, I would have never known about that.
WWE does a far better job at telling stories. Whether or not you like that, that's your choice.
Yeah. Well, no, I like stories, but what I'm trying to say is there's not between 3 pay-per-views, it's still the same rivalry.
But you could have just used my argument of it just stopped showing me the same match.
Yeah.
I want new stories. I want something different. Like get Corbin and Madcap away from each other. Maybe have Madcap and like all of a sudden Corbin Owens says some stupid Madcap.
This is what you do, and you fire him, and then we move forward.
Wow. Why you got to get ready?
I say we do Ezekiel versus Elias.
That would be amazing.
I would take that.
When
you just have like an Elias CG'd on one side, like a hologram.
It'd be camera angles because the audience would be like, "What the hell is going on here?" He's standing in one corner. He's going, "I'm going to kill you." He's in the other corner. I'm going to.
If there's one thing that I know for sure, it's that WWE cannot do CG. So.
Yes. And off topic before we end the show, it was just announced, I think it was today or yesterday, that AEW champion CM Punk has an undisclosed injury and is going to be taking some time off to get surgery. And I am looking forward now to what they're doing for the interim championship.
Which maybe they should have done that for the tag team championship of WWE.
Maybe. There's going to be in AEW, they're going to have a number one contender battle royal, and they're going to face Jon Moxley, who is right now the number one contender.
Don't like, but I get it.
See, what don't you like about that?
I don't like that. Once again, in the way Cap said it, it's that it's like CM Punk was like, make sure that it's Jon Moxley, because I don't know if you noticed how he moved up the rankings all of a sudden when CM Punk won the championship, because they want CM Punk versus Moxley or something.
Who knows? Maybe
Moxley
it'll be Adam.
Is gonna win the title.
You think it'll be Moxley? I don't think
Moxley, so. And I'll tell you why.
Okay, because there's the other half. In New Japan, on next week, basically, they're having the Dominion show, which is Hiroshi Tanahashi against Hiroki Goto. And Tanahashi was the guy who was originally supposed to face CM Punk in Chicago.
Which would have been amazing.
Which I think Tanahashi's winning the AEW championship.
Okay, but at that, sorry. So no, but the winner of this faces Moxley, who then faces. So that's where I wasn't talking about the pay-per-view. In the pay-per-view, I think he wins too. I said that today.
Yeah,
but I think that Moxley wins the title after the tournament is over.
Can I mention?
No. It's what's going to happen is there's a battle royal, and the winner of the battle royal will face Jon Moxley.
And then the winner of that, I get what you're saying.
And then Moxley will be facing the winner of Tanahashi versus Hiroki Goto.
Okay, for the title, I get it. I
for
thought
the
that
title,
Moxley would face the number one guy for the title. Okay.
So when what's his name comes back, with Punk comes back, they're going to do a title versus title.
Yeah, got it.
And I think that's because they want to do the Punk Tanahashi match.
And may I mention that even though it's just setting up for matches, that is still a better storyline than what WWE has right now. I know it's not a storyline, but that's my whole point right there.
So here's my storyline. Because it's not a storyline, so you already lost this argument. I think, number one, that promo was, I've never, and I don't like him. I've never seen CM Punk give such a bad promo ever.
Yeah.
Like he messed up so many words at the beginning where he had to keep restarting his sentence, and I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And his match on Dynamite was terrible. But FTR is great. I love them. But anyways, Back
where they come from too.
They're Midnight
Kenny
Express.
Omega, how long is? Yeah, I love that they have this on. Is Kenny Omega out?
He's out for I don't know how much longer. His injury is taking a bit longer than they're expecting.
What if he's the one that wins the battle royale? Is what I was thinking. But
and then we do Omega Mox again.
Omega Mox, and then Omega goes over and faces the Tanahashi.
Because why would they have Tanahashi in the US already? If he's not,
that's what I was thinking, because no one knows what's going on with Omega right now. He's just been absent, period.
Yeah, because Tanahashi showed up on Dynamite to challenge Punk at Forbidden. Was it? Yeah, on Dynamite to face Punk at Forbidden Door. That was going to be the original match. But usually they would do a video package live from Japan or something. All right, he actually showed up to the arena. So.
I don't care. I'm so hyped for Forbidden Door. You have no idea. I know it's
and there's no matches announced yet. There's except this title match.
I hope every match, at least most of the matches, are crossover matches.
And they will be. Yeah.
All I know is I want Luchasaurus. If they do just one tag team match, I want Luchasaurus versus I'm forgetting their names now. With my favorite wrestler, I just forgot the name.
Jungle Boy.
No. No, I'm not Luchasaurus, but what their team is, Jungle Express.
Jurassic Express.
Jurassic Express thing. I can't think of the name with that team that I like. You know what I mean? Them going against each other. They set up that match.
Oh, the team you like, the Young Bucks.
Oh, screw you! I hate
you like the Lucha Brothers.
Yeah.
I want to see.
Yeah, that I would see the Lucha Brothers against somebody else.
Listen, this is what I want. Okay, and then you can end this episode because this has gone far too long.
Yes.
I want Jungle Express versus FTR in a title for title match. ROH tag team on the line and AEW on the line. Unify the titles. That would be epic.
Is it FTS the one that's from
FTR.
FTR? Aren't they the ones from my neck of the woods?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But just that remix of the goddamn Midnight Express song is such a banger. Like, what a banger.
Like, the thing is too, because it all depends on who's gonna win this weekend in Osaka. Right?
Yeah.
It all depends because there's a match between Jay White and
Jay White has to be in Forbidden Door.
Yes, but who will be the champion, the IWGP champion, going into Forbidden Door?
What
right?
if you did Bullet Club versus the what are they called? The All Elites.
Well, yeah, you can do Bullet Club because Chase Owens and Bad Luck Fale. Chase Owens was already there last week, right? That match with
do Young Bucks and Cole. Wait,
yeah.
Versus like Jay White and two other people from Bullet Club.
Or they can do the for the 6-man tag for their 6-man tag team championship.
There you go.
Was it the House of Torture, Evil, Show, and Takahashi?
Yeah, because that's what they originally were building for. Was for CM Punk and FTR to introduce a new title at some point where the three of them would win it, a 6-man tag title.
You have Katsuyori Shibata, like the US champion, Juice Robinson, Tony Storm's fiance there. He can go up against title for title, do a match against him and Scorpio Sky.
Just don't let Scorpio Sky talk because he's
no.
You know what? I had never heard him talk until his promo on Rampage, and it was brutal.
Yeah. The only thing was I would have loved to see, but they're both hurt. Is former tag champions. They were former tag champions is Omega and Kota Ibushi, and have one more match between the two of them.
Are you talking about what were they called? The Lovers?
Golden Lovers or Golden Showers?
Yeah. Well, that angle was crazy.
Yeah.
I watched that whole thing and like the whole development into the Bullet Club. Like Kenny Omega's ability to tell a story over years and have it somehow pay off is crazy.
Yeah. So there's there's a guy who's not holding any belt right now, Tetsuya Naito. We can go Tetsuya Naito versus Bryan Danielson.
Just get Okada.
Okada. But who's Okada going to face? That's the thing.
Hangman Page, no title match. I
would do that. But I think it's going to be. I honestly think it's going to be Okada Danielson or Okada Cole.
Yeah. I'll take that too.
Yeah. And
Putty's down here.
He's like, what are you talking about?
There's a lot of these guys I don't even know. So I'm just
go do yourself a favor and watch all 4 matches of Okada versus
Kenny Omega. They're all on YouTube. Just go look it up.
They are the 3 main matches because there's one that wasn't at a pay-per-view. The 3 main matches of it are rated as the 3 greatest matches ever in wrestling history.
And then go watch the Kenny Omega match against the blow-up doll.
The guy that everyone talks about on Twitter that always breaks the news.
Dave Meltzer.
David Meltzer broke his score. So he gives 5 out of 5 stars. He gave the first match a 6, the second match a 6.5, and the third match a 7 out of 5.
That's how good they were.
5.
That's how good they were because they exceeded.
They were great.
Yeah. And then go watch any Kota Ibushi versus Kenny Omega too.
Okay, we've gone way too far here.
We're gonna wrap it up
I'm
here.
not even WWE no more.
But yeah, Putty, do yourself a favor. Even just go on YouTube and watch some New Japan stuff. I'll text you some names on who to watch.
Okay.
But you just gave me a good match. Jurassic Express against the Gorillas of Destiny.
That's good. That's really good because they're like animals too.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, Jungle Boy's a boy, but
yeah.
He's close to it. He's like Tarzan.
Boy. Anyway. All right, guys. Thanks again for joining us. Thank you for sticking around this long. Let us know your thoughts on this pay-per-view. Let us know what your match of the night was down in the comments below. And let us know what you're looking for. If you guys are looking forward to Forbidden Door, let us know which dream matchups you want to see in the comments as well. And with that, guys, thank you again for joining us, and we'll see y'all next time.
Wrestling.